Hello, everyone, and welcome to the About Healing podcast. This is a show created for those on or awakening into their spiritual journeys who are ready, wanting, and learning how to heal themselves. I'm your host, Sheree Buckman, medium and spiritual healer. Join me as I share my unfiltered perspective in healing, creating a place of love and understanding for all, reminding us that we are in this life together and never alone in our struggles. To learn more about me and my purposeful work, visit my website at shereebuckman.com. Let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode. I am starting and creating this holiday healing series, and this is going to be episode 1, part of a 3-part series. So with the holidays here, I say and I had to stop there and stutter because it's not really me. Copper didn't want me because, she's really the boss in this. So bossy. To go too deep in this season. And while I struggled creating a fun, shorter topics and episode for you through the holidays, we landed on something I think really creative, and I think it'll be fun. And it's a little bit of a mix of going a little bit smaller and shorter, not super in depth, but also about keeping it and helping you work on that healing, because that is what the show is about. And so we are using the classic Charles Dickens story, A Christmas Carol. And so today, the topic that we're going to go off of we're using, at least as our platform to go into this, is the Ghost of Christmas Past. So you can imagine what the next 2 episodes would be if we're starting with the past. But we're going to take this and talk about our healing journeys and where we've been to where we are and where we're going. And so again, we bring that focus now into our past. And so I wanted to take this episode and this time with this topic to create a wonderful reminder and also the lesson of where you've been or where we've all been, what we've been through, because it's important to see the amazing progress you've made in order to understand where you are and to keep yourself going. So it is important that we look back at our past. We don't want to live in our past, but we do want to glance back and see it as a memory. So as we begin to look back, I want to get more specific here. Let's look back and let's ask and see, what blocks or experiences have you overcome? So to really go back and see this, we have to think about the previous trauma and triggers. And really, these are 2 big pieces, because if we break this down, they're traumas. Let's go back to the past and our traumas. What are those big experiences we've been through? The ones that shifted our whole life, ones that we brought with us to where we are now, ones that we're still dealing with, or ones that you've overcome despite the pain. Along with trauma creates triggers. Are you in a place that you know what your triggers are? Have you at some point realized and understand what your triggers are, and you have been working towards understanding and letting go of that? Or have you done the work where your old triggers are no longer an obstacle today? And in case you're wondering what could be a trigger, or if those you don't even know what it is, think about having a conversation with someone and all of a sudden you get really angry. And it's not because somebody is attacking you or anything else, but this one topic comes up and all of a sudden you don't know why you were so bothered by it. Or when you're on social media and you see a post about fill in the blank and it doesn't align with you, but you get so angry about it where you feel like you need to comment, or you fly into bigger emotions, whether it is rage and anger, or whether it is you are sobbing and crying because it super triggers something within you. It's to look at your big reactions to things that aren't necessarily about you. Those are triggers. So whether it is one person that knows how to trigger you, whether it is a topic or an emotional state or a time of year, so on and so on. These are the triggers that I want you to look at, because when it's truly not about you and it just excites this big piece within you, that is a trigger. It is causing something in you something that you haven't dealt with or released to cause this reaction. Because when you see things that aren't necessarily about you, it shouldn't cause a big emotional change within you. Because again, the key is to be balanced and neutral about the things happening around you. Because again, everybody is going through their own things, are not on the same level or frequency as you are. And we should just see it, smell a nod, and let it go. So it's taking a look at these things. Where are they? Because remember, the first step is just being aware of the imbalances in your emotional state or your thought basis or your beliefs, things like that. Because from there is how we can adjust and how we can work with it and find our healing from that point. Again, talking about the previous traumas and the previous triggers, it is also taking those and from those experiences, it's looking at, did you create or take on any walls and barriers? Like, did you create walls around yourself to protect yourself? Now, so much so, you're having a very hard time in your current relationships. It's hard to let people in. It's hard to allow others to love you, or vice versa, you to love others because of experiences from our past. Because if we have all this, then again, you are in an imbalanced state. You've gone so far to the other side of protecting yourself that we're not allowing new beautiful experiences to enter. So it's looking at that. Let's look at our past. Our past is going to bring you there. Are you in a place where you're holding a lot of mistrust, where you don't feel like you can trust anybody, or you can't trust the world, or that there's more bad in the world than good, including people, experiences? Again, that's that imbalance. And these are the things that we bring with us from our past experiences because they haven't been healed. Again, this also includes anger and resentment. Are you in a place you hold a lot of anger, a lot of resentment about anything and everything when you know really there's nothing where you have these reactions and you know they're bigger than what they should be? Again, this is all that part. This is a part of those triggers. That's part of your past trauma that you're bringing with you, that you have brought with you, that you're collecting. Or are you carrying these harsh judgments for others where you feel people are not living their lives the way they should and you feel like you need to control that? Because again, that is a defensive mechanism where you feel like you need to control everything around you just so you know what is happening so you don't feel off guard. So if you are aware of those triggers, if you're aware of your traumas, and then if you're looking at these pieces here, and what are you bringing with you, then we know what we still need to work on from our past. Or if you've gone through it, it's amazing. And you should be so proud of where you are, where you've been able to break down some of those walls and allow others into your life again, or you're helping others to do the same. So as we look back into our past, it's looking at the growth and lessons, not just from the pain and the trauma we've been through, but let's look at the growth and the lessons. Because again, it is all tied together in that. And whether you have been through some severe trauma or not, just think about the things that you've experienced in your life going into childhood and adolescence and young adulthood and so on and so forth. Looking at who you were, not just the situations, but who you were as a person, what you believed in, how you carried yourself, how you treated other people, how you treated yourself, and where you've been. And in this, think about the jobs you've been in, the relationships, the places you've lived, because all of that, including think about also what you've done, whether they were actions, whether you created things, whether you destroyed things, because we have to look at the positive and the negative when we're looking at the past. It's really important that you're looking at both, because remember, it is all about balance. None of us are perfect in our actions. Not one of us. I wish I could say I found that loophole and I'm perfect. Yeah, that's not even close to true. I just have accepted both sides of myself. It's the light and the dark. And that's what it's about. We're not all light and we're not all just dark. Sometimes we go through these periods of time where it's maybe more than one than the other, but it's about that balance in between. That's where it's at. So it's okay to look back and see that, and whether you've made questionable decisions in the past that affected others, that affected yourself in a bigger way, look at it. Look at the experiences that you have gone through, and then the growth and the lessons that you've learned from them. Because now is time, and it's really important that you're taking time now to move on from the past and leave it behind. And that's why I think that this series is going to be really important, because here we are. We're at the end of the year. We're in December. This is a beautiful, joyous time. And usually, sometimes it is beautiful and it's exciting and we're in the best moods we've ever been in. But also, this also can bring in high stress and a lot of triggers for some of you still going through your traumas and still healing. So we need to take time and put intention towards leaving the past behind, because you cannot change the past, but you can learn from it. Your past does not need to come with you. Like I said in the beginning of this, it's about looking back at it as a memory, as a reminder of what you've been through. But it is not who you are. It's who you were. It's where you've been and what you've done. And again, past tense. These are all past tense. And as you work on this and as you learn to let go of this and really look at your past and all this, it requires one big key factor here: honesty. This is about being honest with yourself, because true healing does not happen until you let that go. And this is just like Ebenezer in A Christmas Carol. He had to come face to face with the harsh truth, how he treated people in his past. And not only that, but how he was treated, that created the hardened shell of what he was. He took his trauma with him and he created those walls and he created that imbalance. Not that you are creating all of that, but I am showing what it could be like. It's something to pay attention to. And guess what? Honesty. It is a really hard pill to swallow, but it is. That is how true healing begins. If you can't come to terms of where you've been, then you can't come to terms and change things about where you are. So we have to go back first. And it is a big reminder in here that for all of you, and this is for myself too, that healing is a journey, one that we all take at some point and never at the same time, or it's one that we start at one point and we put it down and then we come back to. And whether you're on that healing journey all the time like myself, I am constantly on this. I am completely aware, and I am extremely honest with myself now about this. I mean, the ugly and the all. Because if I'm not, then I'm stuck. And I can't move forward. So give yourself some love and credit for the growth that you've already established. You have all changed from the past. It's to go back and take a look and see that growth and to see those changes, no matter how small. You have been doing the work. And right now is to take that deep breath and say, I've been through a lot. But because of that, I wouldn't be where I am. Because our previous struggles, triumphs, loves, and losses, they all bring us to the place and the person we are today. And so right here is where I'm going to leave you, because this is where it brings us into our next episode. Our next week's topic is the ghost of Christmas present. So for this week, just take your time with this and sit in this. But don't sit in it and collect it and bring it all back. Sit in this and take time to release the old self, the past, because you were beautiful and you were healing. So until next week, be kind to yourself. With so much love and gratitude, I want to thank you for listening to this week's episode. My hope today is that the message continues to guide you along your path to healing. You can find About Healing Podcast on Pandora, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, or any of your favorite places to listen in. Follow and share the podcast on Facebook and Instagram, where you can find healing guidance, quotes, tips, insights, and chances to win free stuff. To ask questions or share comments, email me at abouthealingpodcast@gmail.com, or feel free to always reach me on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, be kind to yourself.